So if you sell high-ticket products within your online education business, you might have noticed that in the last couple of years, it's become harder and harder to sell things. And that's because the landscape of the internet is changing, the landscape of education is changing. A lot of this is obviously fueled by AI. And so we also need to be adapting the way that we are approaching our marketing and sales in order to keep up. So this video, I'm going to show you an approach, a philosophy almost, to selling high ticket and to marketing high ticket, which has been working really well for lots of people in the education space across lots of different niches. So over the last year or so in particular, what we've generally seen is a real kind of sluggish decline in response to selling high ticket stuff. A lot of people think that this kind of happened around the COVID time when we had an absolute ballooning in the number of email newsletters happening. Whereas before, an email newsletter was something that not everybody did. When we had the pandemic, so many people went online, everyone started sending email newsletters, everyone's inbox got flooded. The whole world basically went online. And so for the years following the pandemic, we've just generally become a little bit more desensitized to email. This has then been made a lot worse in the last couple of years by the proliferation of AI and the fact that now not only does everyone have an email newsletter, they're also writing it with AI, they're sending emails every day, and everyone is just, they're fed up with the whole thing. And people are just tuning out and not paying so much attention. It is certainly true that with a lot of AI generated stuff, like the quality is not great. And so it's easy to think that, well, if I just make sure my stuff is better than everyone else, if I continue to put time and attention into the craftsmanship of making this stuff, that I'll be okay. But when there is so much noise out there and the signal to noise ratio is so distorted, we've got to work that much harder in order to actually cut through the noise, but just demonstrate that we actually have something of value. Because I think what's happening is that people's expectations just at rock bottoms. And what we're seeking to do here is to really stand out. Now, the core approach I'm going to take in explaining how to react to all of this change is intimacy. And intimacy is a word which really we all need to see it onto our eyeballs, because intimacy really explains why anyone does business with anyone online these days, and doesn't do business with someone else. So let's talk about what intimacy is. Generally, for a high-ticket product or service, for the longest time, if you followed someone and you were on their email list and you looked at what they promoted, they would have a product of some sort up here. And the way that they would approach their email list would be basically every month they would send out something, an email that's designed to sell that main product, right? Every promotion is about that product. It might come with a different angle. You might break out a different piece of the product, but basically every single promotion that goes out on the email list is just designed to do that one thing, and everything is sales related, right? Because people think, okay, well, every month I want to be able to make sales, and so they sell in different ways, but this gets fatigued very, very quickly when you realize that everyone is just being absolutely saturated with sales pitches, with emails, with newsletters, and all of these things. And so what we want to do is to take a slightly less direct approach, and instead of sending emails where the purpose is to sell our main thing, is to instead take an approach of selling intimacy. And so what we need to do to respond to this is to step back a little bit from this approach of selling our stuff so directly, flogging a dead horse, because everyone's flogging the dead horse, right? The whole terrain is littered with dead horses. What we need to do is sell the audience on us as people, so that we can earn the right to sell these, to then go on to actually sell things. So there's like an intermediary step here, and that intermediary step here is the letter I in big letters, which of course stands for intimacy. And what we want to do is use our email list to actually, instead of selling the product, actually channeling people towards a step that contains intimacy, which then can lead to the product sales. So what is intimacy? Intimacy fundamentally is creating a more direct experience, a more in-person experience through the online mediums of different kinds, right? So email is great, and if you have a great personality over email, that does a lot. But what does even more is video, which is why everyone's on YouTube these days. What does even more than video is live video, where you're actually having a kind of experience of being there live with that person, right? It's like, short of being in the same room as someone, live video, that live interaction is the most intimate thing that you can be doing online, right? So what are the different ways that we can inject intimacy into our marketing? Well, webinars have been around for a very long time, and one of the things that webinars does really, really well is that it creates intimacy because you're there live with the person. The other way you can think about this is, you could call it whatever you want. You call it a free training. You can call it a workshop where you're simply just teaching something cool to your audience for half an hour or an hour. Sometimes webinars have these connotations of being, like sales events in disguise, right? But in its purest form, they're really, really great. They're just you teaching something cool. There's live video. I mean, a lot of these things came out about 10 years ago and were super popular because they were novel and they were new. Now these things are becoming popular again not because they're novel and new, but because they're bringing back intimacy, and intimacy is that thing that people are really craving. All right, so lives, whether it's Facebook Live or Instagram Live or whatever, there's the special effect of creating intimacy because you're there on live with the person. But the other way you can do this is actually with paid products. So low ticket products are also, again, becoming quite popular again right now. And this could be, I like to sell $100 workshops where I'm teaching a particular thing for a couple of hours. Low ticket is often thought of as being a cheap digital product. But here, the idea is it's a paid workshop of some kind. So it's cheap, but it's delivered live. And what you're doing here is you're having someone buy a ticket to spend time with you. But what you're doing with all of these things, whether it's a webinar, whether it's a live video, whether it's a low ticket thing, is you're essentially buying the ability or earning the right, if you like, to then sell something, right? So the flow typically here would be you have an email leading to an event that promotes intimacy, whether it's a live video, workshop, training, and then from there you can then make the sale either directly on the live event itself or following up over email to the people who attended. And this is something that I use a lot in my business. The flow is email to live event to sale. And what it does is it channels attention, just like you're holding a magnifying glass up to the sun, where the sun has got all this potency. It won't set light to the leaf on the ground by itself, but if you hold up the magnifying glass here, then that will channel all of the energy down into the leaf, and then the leaf will catch fire. That's exactly what we're doing here, where the sun is people's attention and the attention of your audience. The magnifying glass is your live event that creates intimacy, and then that creates the reaction that results in someone having spent that time with you, being focused on the topic, wanting to learn more, and then actually making a purchase. So what does this actually mean practically for your marketing? Well, this is what you might do. Let's say this is your 12-month promotional calendar. And we now know that rather than making endless pitches over email, we're now going to be channeling people into live events of different kinds to create intimacy. What we've got is almost like, I like to think of it as a kind of a hub and spoke model, right, where we've got your main product here in the center, and we know that is the ultimate destination. We know that's where we ultimately want to send people through. And then round the outside now, we've got all of these different events of different kinds, and then some of them are going to be free, some of them are going to be paid, right? So it could be that, in certain months you run a $100 workshop. Maybe you do that down here. A few times a year you're running a $100 workshop. And then at other points in the year, you're doing something for free. It's a free training. It's a free something or other, even like a Q&A or like a live teardown or breakdown or something. You've got these different things happening. And then maybe at some point you make a direct sale as well from time to time. That's okay. But your promotional calendar now, rather than thinking of your promotional calendar as promotion, i.e. selling stuff, what we're doing now is we're using that capacity in your emails, in your promotional calendar, to get people into these live events to promote intimacy with your audience and then channeling them into your main product. And the people that I've seen implement this, the people that I've seen use this kind of hub and spoke model to inject more activity, more intimacy, more proximity into their relationship with their audience, have really seen their fortunes turn around in the last year or so as they now sort of rise to the top of the pile, like the cream on top of the milk, where everyone else is just sending AI slop. You are the one that's earning the attention of your audience, and ultimately where attention goes, money flows. Now, in case you haven't noticed, the one thing that this model and this approach is not is passive. The days when we could all build big SEO-fueled authority sites and make digital product sales while we sleep are well and truly on the way out. But I would really encourage you to think about this and to explore this proactivity and this re-engagement with your audience, because what I've personally found is not only is it very motivating when you see the sales start rolling in, but actually it can be very, very rewarding because, you know, as educators and as teachers, spending that quality time with our audience and teaching what we know and seeing how people come alive when they respond to the things that you're teaching is incredibly energizing and very fulfilling. I think it is a better way overall of doing business, far better in fact than the old passive model. And in this video over here, I break down exactly why I think passive income is a lie and why I've changed my mind on the whole passive income thing. Go and check it out.